Developing this morning, ICE is uncovering more on illegal immigration fraud, now identifying thousands of foreign students who claim to be working for employers.
Joins me now, Jonathan. Look, this is a security issue. It's an attack on the American workforce because we all know you got a lot of college grads right now trying to get jobs they can't.
Today we are announcing that we have identified over 10,000 foreign students who claim to be working for highly suspect employers.
$14,000 students, one woman, $6.4 billion. And not a single visa was real. Pre-dawn, Newark, fog sitting low on the Hudson. Then, movement, 60 federal vehicles cutting silently through empty streets. No sirens, no lights, just engines and intention. FBI, ICE, Homeland Security investigations. 3 cities, same clock, same second. They hit 41 locations simultaneously. Office buildings, luxury condos, a law firm on the 14th floor of a midtown tower, a university consulting suite in Chicago's Loop, a career placement center in Jersey City that had no careers and placed nobody. Doors came off hinges, servers got pulled from walls, and in a glass-paneled corner office overlooking Manhattan, federal agents found Dr. Isabella Vance still at her desk. She didn't run, she just looked up and smiled. That should have been the first warning, because what agents found in that office in the next 20 minutes would unravel something so deep, so structured, so deliberate. Investigators would later say it wasn't fraud, it was architecture. Inside her filing cabinets, 12,000 student sponsorship files, inside her encrypted drives, employment verification letters for companies that didn't exist. Inside a locked drawer, 3 burner phones and a ledger. Handwritten, organized by state, organized by price. The going rate for a fraudulent opt sponsorship? $18,000 per student. Cash equivalent transfers only, routed through shell LLCs with names like Horizon Staffing Partners and Apex Workforce Solutions. Neither company had a single employee on payroll. Neither had an office. Neither had ever filed a tax return. But both had processed over $400 million in the past 3 years. This wasn't a visa scam. This was a shadow economy with a legal face. And Isabella Vance had been running it for 7 years. Here's what the public didn't know. What the universities didn't know. What the students in many cases didn't fully understand. The optional practical training program was never the target. The program was the weapon. Opt allows international students to work in the U.S. after graduation. Legitimate. Federal. Designed to keep skilled graduates contributing to the economy. But inside the Blackstone Network, Opt became currency. Vance had positioned herself as the most connected immigration placement director on the East Coast. LinkedIn. Conference panels. A published paper on workforce equity for international graduates. She gave the keynote at an immigration law summit in 2019. Smiled for the camera. Shook the right hands. Meanwhile, beneath that, she was running the most sophisticated visa for hire operation federal investigators had ever documented. Students, many of them desperate, many of them months from losing their legal status, paid the Blackstone Network to list them as employed by fake companies. The fake employers filed the paperwork. USIS received it. Visa extensions got approved. Students stayed in the country. And Vance collected. But that was only one revenue stream. Back in the FBI Cyber Forensics Unit in Lower Manhattan, analysts were pulling apart the Blackstone Network's digital skeleton. What they found wasn't a back-alley fraud ring. It was corporate infrastructure. 17 shell companies, 4 offshore accounts in Cyprus and the Cayman Islands. A series of wire transfers moving through a fintech platform registered in Estonia. 2 green energy consulting firms in Delaware, both paper only, both sitting on top of accounts receiving millions quarterly. The money didn't disappear. It cycled, back through real estate purchases in New Jersey, into a private equity vehicle that had made legitimate investments in 3 actual tech startups. Laundered so cleanly, auditors had flagged none of it. The total move through the network over 7 years, $6.4 billion. 6.4 billion. Not millions skimmed from desperate students. Billions. Because Vance wasn't just selling visas to individuals. She was selling sponsorship infrastructure to other fraud operators. Sublicensing the scheme. Franchising corruption. 14,000 students had opt extensions tied to fake employers in the system. But behind them were 43 sub-operators across 11 states, recruiters, immigration consultants, and at least one disbarred attorney, who had purchased access to Vance's employer shell network and sold it downstream. She was the manufacturer. They were her distributors. And nobody had seen it coming. because she had made sure of that. Federal investigators pulling Vance's communications found something that stopped the room cold. 3 years ago, an Seafield agent in Newark had flagged one of the Blackstone shell companies during a routine audit. Standard red flags, incomplete filings, mismatched employee counts. The inquiry was closed within a week. No follow-up, no escalation. The agent who closed it? He had received $300,000 in cryptocurrency transfers over the prior 18 months, traced back after significant forensic work to a wallet connected to a Blackstone sub-operator in Queens. One agent. But investigators kept pulling the thread. By the time the operation concluded, federal prosecutors had identified 9 individuals within immigration enforcement, 2 USAID contract reviewers, and a state-level Labor Department official who had received payments from Blackstone-connected accounts. Amounts ranging from $40,000 to over $1.2 million. These weren't bad actors who stumbled into corruption. They were recruited, vetted, maintained. Vance had built redundancy into her protection layer the same way she'd built it into her financial network. She didn't bribe people, one investigator said privately. She hired them. And that was the detail that made this different from every visa fraud case that came before it. Because this wasn't desperation. This wasn't improvisation. Every layer had a backup. Every shell had a shell. Every contact had a contract. Isabella Vance had built a system designed to outlast any single investigation, any single arrest, any single exposure. The only thing she hadn't accounted for was a 2-year undercover operation that had placed SACE agents inside 3 of her sub-operator networks simultaneously. The coordinated arrests, the 41 locations, the 3 cities, the same clock, weren't the beginning of the case. They were the end of it. The undercover work had already been done. The evidence was already secured. The warrants had been sitting sealed for 6 weeks. The morning of the raids was just collection. 214 arrests across New York, New Jersey, and Illinois. 89 people charged federally. Charges ranging from visa fraud and money laundering to conspiracy to obstruct federal immigration proceedings and bribery of federal officials. 43 servers seized. 12,000 fraudulent sponsorship files flagged for USAID's review. And somewhere between 15 and 20 criminal referrals still pending, names that haven't been made public yet. Because the investigation isn't over. Prosecutors confirmed that Blackstone's digital infrastructure had been operating a second tier of services that federal agents are still mapping. A network that allegedly went beyond visa fraud into document fabrication, identity construction, and in at least several cases, the facilitation of individuals entering the country under entirely false credentials. That investigation is ongoing. Those files are sealed. And somewhere in the seized servers, in encrypted partitions that forensic analysts are still working through, there are files that reportedly list names connected to institutions, not individuals. Universities, staffing conglomerates, at least one financial services firm. None of that has been charged yet. None of that has been named publicly. But federal prosecutors don't seal files unless there's a reason to. The students, the 14,000 caught in this, face a different kind of reckoning. Most were victims of a system that preyed on their vulnerability. Visa uncertainty weaponized against them. Their futures leveraged for someone else's billions. Many cooperated with federal investigators. Many are now in legal limbo, their status under review, their futures uncertain through no fault of their own. That's the cost that doesn't show up in the seizure numbers. Isabella Vance is in federal custody. No bail. Prosecutors characterized her as an extreme flight risk. She holds 3 passports. The smile from the corner office is gone now.